Right, Rob. So we're coming back to Rob. So it's in our notes
RRR.
I've put here RRR Rob's rating and review. So it's
So a couple of episodes
RRR.
ago, you mentioned this film. You reviewed it a couple of episodes ago, and
Yes.
I didn't really know a thing about it. So it's interesting because when you go into something like this where you know nothing about it, you gave it a good review. That doesn't necessarily mean I'm going to like it. It could mean I could hate it.
Yeah. Can I just pause you there a second?
Okay.
It's like that thing. I mean, I know we live in a different world. Sometimes when you watch foreign cinema to what you're used to watching, my brother was still is into like kung fu movies. So growing up, but we watched a lot of trash growing up, and it was like going to the local video store. You rent it. You don't really know because they're all made to look good. All the video cases look good, and I think it's the same with Indian cinema. We've come into this cold, haven't we? I saw a couple of YouTube videos, and it's a good place to start from there.
Yeah, I think the thing is, you have to be careful that you don't think Indian cinema, therefore everything's going to be Bollywood either, is it? Because there's going to be certain, just like American cinema, there's going to be certain. I mean, outside looking in, you just think American cinema is all Marvel lately, isn't it? It's all superheroes. So that's what it predominantly is, but there obviously is other stuff to it. So this, where do we even start with this? It's ridiculous. It's ridiculously entertaining.
It's hyper reality, isn't it?
So these two guys and
1920s, isn't it?
Yeah, British colonialism, evil Brits, and two wannabe sort of revolutionaries. One's a policeman, but he's kind of undercover, and they become friends. But then there's a bit of a betrayal, and then they become friends again. Over 3 hour, there's coming and goings of that plot line. I think it's worth listeners giving this a go if they've not watched it. So no point spoiling it too much. But I found it entertaining because it's really well paced for a 3 hour film.
It's set piece after set piece after set piece.
All the set pieces are. I was making some notes actually for the show, which you don't have to go through all them in these detail. But you got the policeman fight at the start, which
that's amazing.
Is like, whoa, that's amazing.
I mean,
then you've got the bit when
Robert started that,
guys...
and I thought, sorry, let me set that fight. I started that, and it's 5 minutes in, if that.
Yeah, straight away.
And I thought to myself, right, what am I going to make of this? And and I was like, right, I'm in now because we've got that kind of, it's like Ethan Hunt in the Mission Impossible films. He's just the best at fight, like James Bond. They're the best at fighting all the time, aren't they? And that's what you've got here. You've got that same sort of secret agent or spy or the best fighter or the best scrapper, and I was like, yeah, I'm sold. I'm in.
As you're watching it, he's doing things, and you're sort of thinking, no, he's not going to do that, is he? Surely he's not going to. Yes, he does. Sure.
Fights like 200 people. Yeah.
Yeah. So it just keeps amazing you, and then you think, well, how's this going to top this for the next 2 hours 45 minutes? But then he introduces what's his name, Beam, the other character, and then you've got this battle with a tiger. So it's like you say with the Mission Impossible, the good Mission Impossible films, each set piece feels different. It's not just another fist fight or another shootout. Then you've got this bit on a bridge. Then it goes into, and I see what you mean now when you said about how it reminds you of Luca.
Yes.
The male friendship bonding.
It is, isn't it? It's like
then you've got a wedding dance.
Yeah.
Then you've got the sort of betrayal, and you've got all the bits with you've got the bit with the poison.
Yes.
And then he saves a life, and it all gets all dramatic and almost borderline soap opera. Then there's like the fight between them and all the wild animals.
Yeah.
Then you got a flashback.
Yeah.
Then you've got this really intense torture scene, which reminded me of it's almost like sort of end of Passion of the Christ. And actually, a YouTube commenter said about Mel Gibson, the director's a fan of Mel Gibson films, and I saw that in that because Mel Gibson does that, doesn't he? If you think about ending the Passion of the Christ, end of Braveheart, Apocalypto, there's a lot of self-indulgence, almost sadistic torture scenes.
It was. So I've had a couple of friends ask me about RRR, and they've said, "Can I watch it with my family?" I said, "Do you know what? You could. There's two scenes. There's the one at the start where the sort of
I'd say
soldier hits
under
that lady's
12s
gun.
is a bit dodgy.
Yeah,
I thought.
and then there's the whipping in this. Even
Yeah.
though weirdly, again, to describe it to someone who hasn't watched the film, spoilers. He's being whipped, and they want him to kneel, don't they? And it's more and more intense.
It does go on. That scene does go on a bit too long.
But
even
then
though
it does like a motivational song, and to explain it sounds terrible. But in the
it's
film,
not, is it?
it's fantastic, isn't it? It's really, really well done.
I think what's a huge accolade, a new accolade now we can give this.
Go on.
You know, we talk about the T test,
Yes.
and this clearly passes the T test.
Oh, easy peasy. Yeah.
This has got a level above that.
Go on.
It passes the wife test.
Oh.
So the second half of this, my wife was in the room, and she was like, "Oh, just finish. Sorry, were you watching something? I'll, just right, leave it on. I'll read or something."
Yeah.
And she didn't cut the second half, but she didn't pick a book up. She was just transfixed. She was like, "What's going on here?" So I gave her a bit of a, summary of what she'd missed at the first half, and she really enjoyed it. So she wants the first half now.
Yeah, did she see the dance?
No, so that's in the first
love
half.
that,
So she saw at the end. There's a dance at the very, very end, isn't there?
Yeah, that's
But
after the credits, isn't it?
I mean, things like there's like a rescue scene where there's like a guy on someone else's shoulders. It's just stuff where you just think that's not something you've seen before. The fight in the forest is nuts, and there's sort of Legolas level archery skills going on. It's just stuff. I mean, I don't know how similar this might be to other action sequences in other Indian films. I don't know, because I'm obviously a complete newbie to it.
Yeah.
But as a fresh take, it's stuff where I feel like I've not seen this before, and the way it's done so epic. It's to that point where I think it's really borderline. I mean, it's clearly over the top, but it's not to the point of like you're laughing at it or anything. You're smiling and loving it and going along with it. It gets the tone just right.
On a review I'd read, they said, now I don't know if this is typical of Indian cinema, but there was lots of like you said, the poison scene. There's lots of pledging of friendship, and I'll give my life for my brother. I'll support it. So then when they have this falling out, it's a very, very strong betrayal. But then there's a return of that after. And then there's things like it's Ram, isn't it? He gets put into a cell. Oh no, is it Ram or is it Beam? And he's in the cell, but then it's like a tiny cell.
Ram's in the cell.
And then he's doing pull-ups in the cell. And I thought, this is like this spirit can't be broken. It is these heroes, isn't it? Who just, and then they become larger than life as the film progresses. Do you know what I mean? They're just like unbreakable wills.
Yeah, I mean, but by the ending, they do get into it is that, to us as a Western audience, superhero levels, don't they? It's like that kind of Captain America, or like I say, like the fantasy, like Legolas. Because if you dismiss it as just being stupid, accept that within the rules of its universe, and the things that Captain America and Spider-Man do.
Well, it's like Captain America holding the helicopter, isn't it? Now,
Yeah, so the stuff that you just accept, so you just got to think this style of exaggerated action adventure movie, and they're like these borderline godlike superheroes that they are. That I guess this is just a genre, and there's some other films for us to check out. I did think at the end, and I'm not going to claim to be any expert on this, but I mentioned this briefly when I saw you the other day.
Yeah.
We had some lessons on Hindu with my class last year, last year, and Rama, because I recognise him from the statue, which has got the bow and arrow and the long hair, and his name's Ram or Rama anyway, isn't it?
Yeah.
Though, is it because when his name's Rama, but when they're chanting Ram to him when they're doing the dance, they're clearly saying Ram. Then is that a bit like Steve and Steve, just an abbreviation of it?
I'm assuming so. Yeah, I'm guessing that's the case.
But his name's Rama, and he's dressed like the Hindu deity Rama by the end. Yeah. His outfit is just like it. And so he does almost, it is a little bit like level 10 reached, XP reached. It's like he just levels up to that point where he does look like the Hindu god Rama. And I don't know whether it's clearly intentional, but I don't know, not being knowledgeable on this subject. I kind of want to read up about it a bit more. I don't know if that's unusual or is that a typical thing for Indian cinema there to sort of reference gods and legends and things.
Yeah, if you're listening to this and you're thinking, okay, we're talking about throwing motorbikes and throwing tigers and mega feats of, and this is to be honest, this is probably a bit of a bad, comparing these two films together are probably unfair. But you know, when you watch The Fast and the Furious and you've got a car doing a mega stunt that clearly just isn't possible, it's kind of like that, isn't it?
I think that's a sort of that's as close as damn.
I'd rather watch this than any of the Fast and Furious films. I'll tell you that.
Well, and I can't put my finger on what it is, but I got sort of frustrated, annoyed with the Hobbs and Shaw movie, and I switched it off when it was on TV.
Yeah,
it just got on my nerves. But why did that get on my nerves, but this didn't? There's obviously something about the charm of the...
Do you know what I read? I heard a podcast the other day, and they said it's because it's so epic. I mean, look at a lot of the scenes. There are lots and lots of extras as well, aren't there? First scene where he has that fight, 200 extras. There's a bit, isn't there, where they... it's not like a romantic comedy, isn't it? Where Beam is trying to chat up the niece of the governor.
Actually,
that's lovely and charming. But again, it's a big city full
that's
of people,
it, isn't it?
Yeah.
Because Hobbs and Shaw is just two big muscly actors to show neither of them backing down.
Yeah, it's chest pumping, isn't there?
Got to win, all the time. Whereas, can you imagine Hobbs and Shaw then having a little love story like that, or a dance bit in it? I mean, obviously, it'd be nuts if the Fast and Furious films
love it if they did. Yeah.
But
also, Rob,
the actors aren't so obsessed with their posturing and machismo. They are allowed to let themselves look a bit silly or have a bit of slapstick comedy. It's like the actors in it. It's like when I've seen people talk about Gene Kelly.
Yes.
And saying, he could write and direct films and he could sing and dance, and you just don't get stars that can do everything like that nowadays. Well, then I watched this and thought, well, there's a stars that can do everything because they're singing and dancing and they can do the action, and they can do the comedy, and they do the
so
romance.
Happy with it, and they're just... It's joy. That's how, I've watched that dance now loads of times on YouTube. I'm singing it to myself throughout the day. It's joyous, isn't it, as well? Because even though there's that guy sort of bullying him, isn't he, with the dance at the start, he turns out to not be like a super evil henchman.
A couple of weeks' time or something. I don't want to watch it tomorrow necessarily because it's a long film, but I feel I could watch this again, even in chunks and stuff like that.
Also for us, Rob, is it because we're unfamiliar with this? So to us,
because it feels we're
new. We don't recognise the actors. But do you think if it was, our film starring Jason Statham and The Rock, right? Well, both of these are big actors. They're all vying for first place,
and they're both going to survive to the end. And so you don't really know what's going to happen at the end of this. We don't know the story. It's not a sequel to something that we've seen, so it's the freshness does help.
I mean, I will say, and I'm only saying this just for the sake of saying it. I quite like the fact that the British Empire were like hammed up to 10, weren't they? They were fully evil all the time. But
that's
that's fair enough, I suppose.
Braveheart's like that as well, isn't it? Though.
Yeah.
In Braveheart, when they're just like burning the houses and villages and killing and raping like crazy, and then Mel Gibson saves the day. I
mean, I've got to say, this has been one of the best films I've seen for a while, and I'm still talking about it. If anyone says to me, "What can I watch at the minute?" Am I saying The Northman? Am I saying James Bond? No, I'm saying watch RRR. It's just fantastic.
So this is the kind of movie where I would bring this up in conversation at work and just say, bear with me, but you should give this a go. And if within 20 minutes you don't like it, that's fine. Because if you don't like it within the first 20 minutes, you're not going to like the rest of it. But within the first 20 minutes, you might be hooked and want to see this all the way through. So it's one of those films you do want to kind of pass on word of mouth and get some other people to watch it.
Now, we've had... This has been one of our best... viewed episodes on YouTube
it's close there, isn't it, between first and second place?
well, it's like 20 times better than any of our other videos. But have we peaked, Rob? Although we've had some people comment saying watch KGF, watch some other films. I'm really looking forward to.
I want to watch that. Yeah, I want to watch KGF next. That's the next one on the list.
I think we were saying, weren't we? You know, in my history, I've mentioned earlier, I've watched tons and tons of kung fu films, and that's sort of like all, you know, Chinese cinema there. Well, I'm really looking forward now to watching Indian cinema and learning something.
I'm also going to watch, and I think I'm going to butcher its name now. Is it Bahubali, or is it Bahubali? I don't know how
we need to get
pronounced.
better at this, don't we, Rob? We'll have to listen to how it's pronounced. But we've got a list. Yeah, thanks to YouTube listeners. If you're one of the people who commented, thank you for the recommendation. If you've got any more recommendations, we have been watching podcast@gmail.com. Send us in what we should watch, because I'm really excited to watch some new films. Fantastic. So Rob, Bahubali.
I've even just googled the pronunciation, but I'm not even sure how you pronounce the pronunciation. Bahubali. We'll see. We'll watch that anyway.
Yeah, Rob. Well, how many pairs of braces in a dance are you going to give this?
I'm going to give this.
I loved it. I absolutely loved it.
But it is kind of ridiculous. I think I'll play it a little bit safer. I'll say it's 8 throwing leopards out of 10 for the time being.
Brilliant. Yeah, I loved it.